to Surviving Divorce at 3 a.m. I'm Christy Bridges, and I have Terra Stansell with me. Now, Terra is a therapist, a counselor, and she's going to talk to us about something that I particularly had trouble with. When I was recovering from the loss of my first marriage, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't get my mind to stop. I continuously was working on the problem like I could fix it, continuously wanting to reach out and just talk a little more, just make it better somehow, wondering what my ex was doing and who he was doing it with. So Tara, how what's your take on that? Was I crazy? Was it just me?
Oh, no. Everybody is looking for their normal. Everybody is looking to feel like they felt when they were connected because we're built for connection. And when we're not connected, we go into fight or flight mode. Fight or flight then produces adrenaline, and we want to get out of the house. We want to do something that will satisfy what is running amok in our body, what is running amok in our mind. And so they make us feel really, really restless. And what we tend to want to do is to go find that normal, only in trying to find that, such as, I don't know, let's say stalking your loved one's social media. Only doing that, it's going to produce more pain. But we really are searching for a normal. But in searching for our normal, chasing that, we're really chasing pain.
Yeah.
Fight or flight, searching for safety or chasing pain. And it turns into pain and blame and just so many other things.
Man, and I really was trying to stop hurting. But yeah, you're right. I mean, continuously thinking about him, dwelling on him, working out, how things could have been different.
Yeah.
And back then we didn't have social media, but right now I can totally see how I would probably have been sitting there on Facebook or Twitter or something, with alerts for everything he said. And, you're right. It just keeps us stirred up in an attachment to something that keeps us from moving forward, doesn't it?
Yes, and the whole package of this is precipitated on being able to move forward. Only we cannot move forward if we're still chasing that new normal, chasing the pain. So let's just pretend for a minute that we've hit the social media jackpot and our missing persons has forgot to block us on social media. And so we find a lot of things. We hit a jackpot. And as I say that, I know that anybody listening to this can feel that surge like, oh, there he is. Oh, look what he's doing. Oh, he's going to the fair. He's going to do this. And we see pictures of their new life. And we thought before we found that this was going to kind of give us some sense of normal, but it just produces more pain.
Right.
It does.
Because then it becomes a comparison thing.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do that with me? Why wasn't I enough? Or why, is he talking about me? Is he bad mouthing me? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just ugly. That kind of I could see where that can make a person a little bitter. And
Yes.
bitterness is very unattractive, right?
Yeah. Yes. Bitterness is very unattractive, but sometimes we just automatically go there. So let's back up a minute and just for a minute try to figure out where God is in all this. If we've been doing the right stuff and we're born again believers, and some of us may not be, and that's okay, but we're doing our best, and our best should be good enough. Let's just establish for a moment that God is a kind God. When God gives us what we want, like we found something on social media, it's God, the outcomes that we find out that is not what we want. We have to first find out what it is we don't want. And do you really like feeling bitter, guilty, ashamed when you find all that stuff? And just more
Right.
questions will pop up. it's God's goodness that he gives us what we want and what we don't want. When God gives us what we don't want, we find out that there's another place we can go to get our legitimate needs met. We were looking for a legitimate need on social media.
Mhm.
It's legitimate that we feel connected and loved, but we find out when God gives us what we don't want, we can go to him to get those needs met. One more thing I'd like to throw out there. Let's think about, I realize that our imagination is still, like, I want to go have a cigarette. I want to walk around the lake. I want to search social media or drive by his house. But just for a
Right?
let's think about what it is that missing person does for us. They make us feel seen. They make us feel heard. And I really want
Mm.
this to sink in. They make us feel like somebody. They make us feel needed, wanted, validated. Go ahead.
You're
Thoughts?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you said that, and it made me think of a time when my ex and I had broken up before we got married. And I had driven around his neighborhood playing a song that
Mm,
came on the radio that was, one of those heartbreaking, tear jerking, I miss you kind of songs.
wow.
And you're exactly right. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be known, and wanted.
Yes. Be seen, known, wanted, heard, validated. And we got all that at one point, but that's not what
Yeah.
we can have right now. So, something that you said just a few minutes ago is when we find something on social media, we ask one more question. We ask, what could I have done to produce this? What did I do? What could I have done better? Why didn't I know what to do? And this really, searching for pain, it really produces shame. And I love this
Mm.
acronym. I don't know if love is the right word here. Is it's self-hatred at my expense. Yeah,
Ow,
right.
self-hatred at my expense. Boy, and we do so many things that produce shame
Mhm.
when we're hurting and we're chasing, some feeling of escape from that pain, right?
Exactly.
Oh, self-harm at my expense.
Yes,
Oof.
SHAME is self-harm at my expense.
Mm.
Isn't that something?
So we don't have to. We can recognize, you mentioned that what we're looking for is something valid, right?
Mhm. Oh,
But we're
yes.
just looking for it in a place where we can't get that
Yeah,
anymore. For
yeah,
me, I started writing songs and poetry. Eventually, those things got me into places that felt very validating. And at the time, they helped me release some of those emotions, get my thoughts out in a single file onto a page. Some of that
mhm.
poetry was, but some of it was actually pretty good. And all of it was cathartic. So, what else can someone do
Well,
to avoid that?
yes, I have lots of resources. And when you're awake at 3 a.m., or you find yourself alone, or you find yourself starting to spin out, it's important to do some of these things before you hit one of those spells, because there are cycles of this that will, yes, that will go through it. So I was going to save this for the end. I know changing the way that you think about who you are and about your connection to other loved ones is different. And it's hard to change, and push-ups are hard, but biceps are pretty. Push-ups, mental health.
Push-ups are hard, but biceps are pretty. You're right.
This is the
Bitterness is not
muscle.
pretty, and so when we push away from this this pain chasing, right? We're building the pretty. We're building the good muscles. Oh, I like that.
And it's hard. But what I want to emphasize is that I know it's hard. Changing the way that you think is hard. And I'm just trying to pour compassion through the screen. But being by yourself is a gift. Being by yourself is a gift. There are 4 components to recovery. And I'm going to give you the basics, and I'm going to give you some specific resources. Number 1 is counseling. So I'm going to go over counseling, sources of information, spirituality, and accountability. Number 1 is
Ooh.
counseling. 2 things you look for in a counselor is, do you feel comfortable with this person? Number 2, do you feel better when you leave that office or not? So
Yeah.
counseling, that these are people with gifts of wisdom and insight. Number two is a constant, ongoing source of information. Now, if we're going to change the way that we think, we have to put some better thinkers in there. And so, some people that I suggest is Connie Witter. Lisa Turkhurst is a new face, but she is very prevalent in the codependency context, especially for women, and she really
Yeah.
encourages Christians in counseling. John Eldridge is author of Get Your
Ooh,
Life Back. That
love
really
him.
that really turned some situations around in my head that I was going through, some separation and some alienation. And his current one is called Resilience. Isn't that an awesome title?
My husband loves John Eldridge too, so that's a good one.
Support system and accountability. I'm going to go to spirituality last. Support system and accountability. This is like join a Sunday school class. If you can't do a Sunday school class because you're mad at God, bicycle group, running group, quilting, some place that you can go that people, you can be connected with people. You can, I call it refamily yourself. And
Free
people,
family. Oh, I like that.
yeah, and because that connected part of you has changed or gone away or not available to you. So I call it refamily yourself. So people will know that you're either there or not there, if it's whatever group it is. And
Yeah.
spirituality tells us that something bigger than us is supporting us.
Yeah.
Somebody bigger is out there. That somebody bigger really loves us. And if you're still mad at God, go for lots of walks, get outside. God intended the outside to be the rain for the people that can't deal with spirituality and those that can.
Yeah. It
So,
helps us understand the way he thinks a little better, I think.
oh my goodness, we just see what he did for us because he loves us and he's such a creative God.
Yes.
Yes. Um, you ready for me to go on?
Go for it.
I got more. So, a famous philosopher named Blaise Pascal said, all of humanity's problems stem from our inability to sit alone with ourselves.
Ooh,
Sitting alone, sitting alone at 3 a.m. or whatever time you're feeling alone and just deserted is a gift to ourselves. And it's what we do with that that will change the outcome. Let's think a minute. Did you really like what happened in your previous relationship? Even though it feels normal to you, something happened that this does not go together anymore. And it gets all mixed up. So instead of finding out like I want that, but it's not that it's not what I want.
hmm
I would like to insert a question here that people don't even think to ask about the person that they're separated from. Can that find out how you want to be loved? And really, the answer to that is, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want that guy or girl to make eye contact with me. And the other question is, can that person love me the way I want to be loved? Does he have the ability? Sometimes they aren't willing, they don't have the ability, or whatever. That's a big one to answer. So, um, go back in previous situations and think about how God rescued you. Again, the lover of your soul. He might have helped you pass a test, get out of a car wreck, um, found a lost object, rescued you in some way. When we cultivate those feelings come up in us again. And that's how
Yes.
we know that God can rescue us because we rehearse the bad stuff. Why not rehearse the good stuff? That's another thing you can do when you're alone is rehearse the good stuff.
Mhm.
Comments, thoughts, questions? Because I can go on.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. It's hard when we're used to having another human being next to us because we're made for connection.
Yes,
But learning to like being by yourself, not necessarily becoming a hermit, right? You still need
exactly.
connection with people, but
Hmm.
learning to enjoy your own company, learning to date yourself, take yourself places other people don't want to go,
I like that.
right? Have conversations with yourself other people aren't interested in. Do things that you like because you like them. And
Mhm.
while you're at it, hang out with God because He invented those things. And notice Him, recognize Him, say, hey, thanks for being here. You're right. I like that. That is one of the most freeing things I ever did was learn how to enjoy my own company.
Yeah, yeah. Before before I went to therapy, this was 30-ish years ago. Um,
Hmm.
I was so social, I didn't know how to be alone by myself.
Yeah.
So it just is, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You can just I know I sound a little whatever, but you can get in touch with so much beauty when you
It's
learn.
true.
And I love the way you describe it, to have an actual conversation with yourself or with God. So I've already mentioned Connie Witter, Living Loved, Living Free. Keep that
Hmm.
beside your bed at night. Grab it, fill in a page, fill in another page. It's a fill in the blank thing. But even if you
Oh,
don't,
perfect.
yeah, even it's really kind of easy. It tells us the basic lies that the devil's telling us when that person just cuts us off. You're worthless.
Mm,
Nobody likes you. Nobody for, you know, just some real basic stuff. And it's
yeah.
reinstalling some specifics about who you are because of Jesus. And like I said, it's pretty simple for the beginner, finding out what God says about her. Um,
Yeah.
Journaling, if the person doesn't know how to journal, 20 minutes, set your, I have a watch. This is my timer. I do so many things with my timer on my watch. And write 20
Hmm.
things you're thankful for. Thankfulness is a universal cure. I
It
mean,
is.
mhm, mhm.
That's actually something that Marty shared with us that he does, and you've shared, and I think at least three other people have. And that tells me this is important, guys. If you didn't pay attention the first time, notice that
Mm,
it is important. Gratitude just changes your life, it changes your ability to receive good things.
amen.
Well, thank you, Tara. You have been just wonderful. It's been so nice to find other ways to spend that time.
Right,
God bless
right.
you.
Thank you so
You have a
much.
We'll see
You
you next time.
you betcha. Talk to you later.